Tensions around Taiwan are heating up, with Chinese military ships and aircraft stepping up operations around Taiwan like never before. During a media roundtable on Monday, Taiwan's defense minister, Wellington Koo, expressed his concern over China's increasingly aggressive behavior. Most recently, a sudden and unannounced shooting drill in international waters just 75 kilometers away from the major port city of Kaohsiung.
最近这一次在这个我们高雄的外海，这是一个很典型的一个灰色地带的一个袭岛，那也加大对我们军事威慑的力度。那这个我想配合这些其他一些非军事的手段，来持续对我们压迫。
This rare media roundtable comes at a time of growing anxiety in Taipei about the way U.S. President Donald Trump is approaching foreign policy. Just days before, much of the world was blown away by the fierce exchange between Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy and President Trump over the war in Ukraine. When asked how Taiwan feels about the exchange and the U.S.'s commitment to its defense, the minister was confident that Taiwan and Asia as a whole is much too important.
美国它的所需要面对军事安全的层面来看，我不认为美国可以，就说 can afford 去失去印太这个区域。那所以我们就因此应该有共同的目标。
Koo says that Taiwan's location in the Indo-Pacific is vital to U.S. interests. He says Taiwan sits at the center of the so-called First Island Chain, a strategic line of islands that stretches from Japan down to Vietnam. If Taiwan is lost, this would make it harder to contain China's military. But given the Trump administration's transactional approach, there's growing consensus in the U.S. that Taiwan should take greater steps to enhance its own security.
Taiwan needs to place itself in a position where, yes, it's great to hope for the best, as clearly the minister was suggesting, but it also needs to plan and prepare for the worst. And I think myself and others have been long calling on Taiwan to spend more on its defense.
While it's far from guaranteed that the U.S. would intervene directly in a Chinese invasion of Taiwan, there is concern from Washington that Taiwan isn't moving fast enough to boost its defense, with repeated calls to raise spending and incorporate more realistic combat training.
The question in my mind is the degree to which Taiwan is an essential or existential piece of our strategy for dealing with China. And there I think the jury is very much still out. I think that if the Trump administration has to play the role of convincing Taiwan to find a way to convince itself to take its own defense seriously, Taiwan is already in trouble.
As both Taiwan and the U.S. work towards their own interests, a clear plan to deter China together seems to be missing. That's despite Defense Minister Koo warning that a war in Taiwan would not just affect regional security, but could also shape a new world order. Scott Huang and Jaime Ocon in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.